I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. It's 80 degrees in October, or as we like to call it, Rocktober. But then again, it's going to get down like 50 on Sunday. What's up, Daniel? Sports Highlights. How you doing, my friend? Everything's going good. We got the T-Brad in the room saying everything is awesome. Zach Attack says on March 9th, 2017, Osweiler was traded to the Cleveland Browns along with the Texans' 2017 pick and the 2014 packs in exchange for the fourth compensatory pick. I don't know what that has to do with the price of eggs in China. I don't know. Maybe they don't sell eggs in China. What do we got there? Maybe we could trade Justin Pugh for a first and a second rounder because he's made the line so much better. Even though the venerable Pro Football Focus has his pass blocking rating last week at like a 14.6. Like 40's bad. I think in Pro Football Focus, like 40's bad. 30's even worse. 20 can't be good. But when you get into the teens, I'm thinking that's not good. And of course, we're going against a Jet defense, which nobody should be scared of. They're ranked 7th against the pass and against 20th against the rush. I'm not sure if the sauce is going to be out there. He was in concussion protocol on Monday, and today is whatever today is. Today's Thursday. Daniel Jones and Andrew Thomas is still saying that he may or may not be able to play on Sunday. He hasn't decided yet. What's up, Davey? I didn't miss much. What's up? Everything's awesome for the T-Brad. What's going on, Tim? Everything's going on, my brother. Everything's going good. Everything's going fine. Hi, Tim. Missed you at the Washington game. You didn't miss much. Yeah, I missed a win. I think that's the big thing. T-Brad wants to know how many fights are at the Jets-Giants game. Well, if you go by history and you carry the 7, I'm going to say there's going to be at least 300 fights. It's a hot ticket. What do we want to say? What do we got to say? I want to see Justin Pugh at guard before I make a judgment on him. He's older and definitely not a left tackle. He's not a left tackle. He's not a right tackle. I'm not even sure he's a guard. And it's nothing against Justin Pugh personally. I said I've met the man. Very nice guy. Very nice guy. Don't hit the like. But he's just not there yet. He's just not there yet. Sorry. He's just not. He's just a guy that, he came in as a fill-in and that's what he should be. And if we're going to rely on Justin Pugh to be part of this starting lineup, we got a lot more problems than anyone ever thinks. What do we got here? David says, I heard Malik Willis is getting his first start. Can't wait to see. I told you so. Well, actually, he's going to split time with Will Levis, unless they changed it. Who was going to split time with Will Levis. Mike Vrabel just doesn't like Malik Willis. That's all there is to it. I mean, he's going to play both. I mean, that's all there is to it. That's just not his quarterback, which is fine. Razzle say, what's up, Tim? Everything's good. James, hit the like button. Let's go, Giant Familia. Hit the like button, share the stream, or go root for the Patriots. Whoa, that's deep. So what are the Giants going to be up to? Is our man?
Who's he? The OG QB.
Is the OG QB going to start? Is Daniel Jones? Daboll's already come out and said there is no quarterback controversy, none whatsoever. If Daniel Jones is healthy, Daniel Jones will start. I got a question for you. What if Daniel Jones is healthy? And what if Daniel Jones throws up a stinker, like in the first half, against a very strong Jet defense? Then what happens? Then do we go back to the OG QB? Is that what happens then? Do we? Let's see if I get General. Let's get General Akbar. There we go. General Akbar wants to come over. That's a trap. It's not a trap game for the Giants. I just like General Akbar. Or Admiral Akbar. I don't know a lot about Star Wars, guys. Sorry. That's my son's gig. Tyrod, give me Tyrod for the win. But the predicament is this: Daniel Jones could potentially be going on 3 weeks of that playing. We're still really getting zero update from 2 hours ago. We're seeing that Daniel Jones has still not been cleared for contact, and that's telling me that if he has not been cleared from contact by today, he's probably not going to be there. Full injury report today. Did not participate is Gary Brightwell and Dexter Lawrence, who has a rest. Limited practice is Daniel Jones, Andrew Thomas, John Michael Schmitz, Saquon Barkley, Adoree Jackson, Evan Neal, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Darren Waller, and Wendell Robinson. Full participant today was Leonard Williams,
king of the almost sack,
and Mr. Graham Ganoa-Matic. I want to say something about this Carl Banks thing with WFAN. I hang up on people all the time. How many times have people come on this show and I hung up on them, or I'm taking them off the camera? It's not a big deal. The problem is this: I don't know who these guys. I don't listen to FAN in the afternoons, but you probably have two strong opinionated guys against Carl Banks, who is the ultimate homer. You have a topic in reference to Kayvon Thibodeaux that is kind of it's almost Daniel Jones-esque at times, because supporters will say he has the 5.5 sacks. Distractors will point out the fact that he doesn't really have an impact a lot of times on the game. But then some people say, well, you know what, you're just not seeing the tape. And then when you do watch tape, you really don't see that much. And then I always go back to the interception that he dropped, thrown right to him, open field in front of him. There's a touchdown right there. And honestly, like I said, I don't think it's a big deal. People on Twitter are like, Carl Banks is the guy, and this and that and that and this. Carl could take care of himself. He spends a lot of time on Twitter, though. He spends a lot of time on the Twitter spaces, but everyone just needs to grow the fuck up. Honestly, you want me to be honest about it? All three parties need to grow the fuck up. You're grown men. I knock people out of the chat for fun because it entertains me. It amuses me. It makes me laugh. But this is sports. This is just football. And to have all these people on Twitter like, well, Carl Banks deserves this, and Carl Banks doesn't deserve anything else that anyone else gets. Carl Banks is just like person, just like you, just like me. He's got his own opinion. You have your own opinion. The only difference is he played in the NFL. Does that add more validity to his opinion? Probably. But these other guys, these other knuckleheads can have their own fucking opinion. Right, General? Yeah, it's a trap. You can have your own opinions. It's all right. But at the end of the day, you got to try to be respectful for one another. And I listened to the interview. Nobody was listening to anybody. So they got rid of him. How many times do I ban Rob? How many times do I drop Dom off the camera? You know what pisses me off? They stole my bit. They stole my bit. I do that. Not you. I think that's what everyone should be upset about. I think everyone should go and apologize to Online Big Blue for them stealing my shit. I heard it's what Will Levis is going to start. Malik Willis is also going to play. What's going on, Kevin? Everything's going good. It's hard to root for the Pew when his personalities, he's old like me. Well, I'm a little older. I'm older than everyone. So Mike Lee says, trade for Willis, and we have a bridge. It's a bridge over troubled water. Give me Tyrod for the win. Zacatech says, if we scare everyone with our backup quarterback, double production, we'll cut down on the sacks. Let's see here. Omega Springs said he will start, not finish. Oh, I guess Malik. I don't know. I don't like Mike Vrabel. He is the wrong quarterback he's the wrong coach for Malik Willis. Jen says, salute. What's up, General? T-Brod in his house. They are starting Tyrod against the Jets. Top-notch defense, hoping Tyrod looks bad and that everyone will get behind Jones. I just love everyone's coming out and saying that Jones's injury is not the same injury as it was 2 years ago, but now potentially he could be missing 3 games. And it's one of those questions. Do you really want to bring him back against the Jets? I mean, let's be honest. The Jets can potentially have a championship type defense, and they got the horses with a little bit of a giddy up to go after you. So, would you really want Daniel Jones back there instead of a quarterback who has some mobility? I love and it's weird because the Jets are a weird 3-3. You have no quarterback play outside of Zach Wilson. But then you laugh because Zach Wilson, he's 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, only completed barely 60% of his passes, but they got a running game. You got Hall and you got Cook. Cook isn't the presence that they thought he would be. I think he's only averaging under 3 yards a carry. Hall is a beast. Hall can haul some things in. You got some guys out there. You got Garrett Wilson. You got what's his name? Conklin. You got Alan Lazard. I mean, you got some ponies out there that can do something. And then on defense, I mean, it's no easy task. Which you got Williams, the linebacker. I mean, he's got like 60 something tackles, and I think CJ Mosley has almost 60 tackles as well. Their pass defense is going to be something to watch. Their run like I said, they're ranked 20th in the pass right now, and they're ranked I think 7th. 7th against the pass, 20th against the rush, the run. So you're gonna have to run the ball. You're gonna have to Herman Munster it and run. That's what you're gonna have to do. But you're gonna have to find something on offense. Their offense. I should go back to the offensive line. The offensive line of the Jets not that great. It's good. It's not great. So you got to go out there and you got to make something happen, Captain. Make sure you hit the like button. You got to make something happen. And the defense is going to have to stand tall again. The defense is going to have to stand up. What does Mr. Weaver say? What do you say, Mr. Weaver? Let's go, GMEN. What's your take on Carl Banks' situation? I think we talked about that. He's an idiot. They're all idiots. That's my take. They're all immature. You know what? You figure when you get older, you're supposed to get wiser. You're supposed to have this degree of professionalism and this degree of of experience. Says the man who's got General Admiral Akbar on his microphone. But everyone just takes everything too fucking seriously. Lighten up, please. It's okay. I think I've said it a million times.
Grab a brew. Don't cost nothing.
Relax. And then you take the battle to Twitter. It's knock knock. Who's there? Get a life. Let's see. Washington game was not a great game. Tyrod didn't win the game. Washington lost the game. Giants tried to give away the game. We missed out on about 13 separate points. Kevin also says, I hope that DJ is in there so that we see all the reasons why we gave up on the deal. I don't think we want to do that. Let's see here. Let's say if DJ can go, he'll go. If he throws up a stinker, then it's Ivan Drago from I Must Break You. Let's see here. I agree. I don't see it like a big deal. No, it's not a big deal. What's it? My only problem with WFN is they don't watch the games. You can tell that in their detail sometimes. I do agree with them about KT. His sack numbers don't reflect his play. Antonio says, I love the channel, Tim. Well, I appreciate it. I love it. I love everybody. Let's see. T-Brad says, Dable is having the Jones is in our quarterback. Like, honestly, he's supposed to say our $40 million a year quarterback isn't living up to expectations. His players got it wrong. That's Amara's guy. Yeah. Joe Rev in the hey Joe Rev, how you doing, Joe Rev? What's up, Joe? What's up, Joe? How's it going, Joe? Okay. Oh, sorry, Joe. Just looking around, Joe. Opinions are like buttholes. Everyone's got one. Michael, he says, Tim, but you're not. You did not trademark. What was I thinking? Everyone knows that I ban people. You get wonked. You get thrown out. You know that.
That phrase, trademark, not to use that permission, Ricky Bobby.
There we go. Like your channel, Tim. Keep it going up strong, 6,000. But hopefully, by the time we get to the Super Bowl, do you think the king of the almost six get traded by the trade deadline? I want to see. We'll have to wait and see what happens on Sunday. If Shane, if you lose and you go 2-6, the odds of you making the playoffs is like 14%, and you would be crazy not to try to get some assets from your expiring contracts. And you'd be crazy not to field offers for Saquon Barkley. I mean, you would be crazy not to. So I take everything what Shane says with a grain of salt. I don't want anyone to look bad. I want wins. I agree. Put DJ on the IR and give us all a break. Put him on the 4-week IR. I don't get this. Same thing with Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas has been out since the Dallas game, taking up a roster spot. What the hell, guys? Put him on the IR. Nobody is talking about the fact that Brian Dable farked this up. He pulls a hamstring early in the first half. You're already down 25-0 going into halftime, and you leave him in the game? No one wants to talk about that. I guess I just did. T-Brad says, people are saying the defense is so much better. I say, of course they are better when the offense is not giving 3 and out on almost every possession. Rest better play. You're right. But nobody wants to talk about the 17-play drive. No, nobody wants to talk about these long drives not getting off the field. The thing is this, if you run out a 16, 17-play drive, you come up with a goose egg, yeah, it looks good for the defense, but you also gave up a 16, 17-play drive. Let's see here. They got the good Williams. They do. The Jets defense is no slouches. What's up, Nick? What's going on? Jet fans and broadcasters fans are deranged. Everyone is. Pimp name Slickback says, Tim, what's up? I really think Jones' next injury is a lot worse than we think. Well, like I said, he still hasn't been cleared for contact. That's the problem. He still hasn't been cleared for contact. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Yo, Emmanuel, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a long time. Max says, Dable has already confirmed DJ isn't playing versus the Jets. He said he in the same condition he was last week. Oh, he did confirm. I did not know that. I have been busy. It's 80 degrees outside. What does it say? Dennis says, why is there no taboo these days to the bench and fanny quarterback? Sit him, then tyranny. I don't know why. This is a good question. Mr. Alberto says, let's see. I got a feeling Jones' injury is the worst. So because they are watching the replay, it looked like he took the crown of the helmet to the neck. Huh. I have not gone back and watched the injury. I am sure about the playoffs. You're talking playoffs? Whatever happens to the coaches, just being honest about the team. If they say something, automatically suspended or get fired. You know what I think is interesting about is the whole injury report situation. And the injury report situation says, don't forget to hit the like. I thought you were supposed to be honest with your injury reports. I guess I went out to dinner. Flaunting the hat. How cruel. I'm flaunting the hat because it's a new one. It's a new one. You didn't notice? It's a new one. That means in Spanish, I have dos hatolas. Let's see here. Love the channel, says Dave. Hope you remember me when you hit 1 million. We hit 2 million. We hit 2 million views. How crazy is that? 2 million views in like 3 years. That's insane. The Lord knows. I thought we were going to get like 8 views a video. Lord knows. And then to find out you get 2 million. That's a lot of people watching. I appreciate everybody. Really, I do, because honestly, when this train wreck started, I think we're gonna get 8 views. Is JMS playing? JMS was listed. He was a limited participant in practice. Tyrod says we must trade for more draft picks to have capital move up in the draft. You're right. Smells like Dable sabotage. Dennis says, let me try my post again. Gosh darn touchscreen. Oh, okay. Get it. I thought it was a little confusing. Mike Lee says, perhaps the lack of cap space is why they are not going on the IR. Do you want to push out DJ's money? God, no. Hell no, I don't want to push out DJ's money. No. Knock, knock. Who's there? No. Nick says, I don't know, man. I just have a feeling we're going to stick with DJ in the future. Like they gave this man other contract. What do they say? Want to get rid of him? Yeah. As a giant fan base and giant organization, I have a question. Hit the like, but I have a question. Oh, you know what I just noticed? It says Jets. It says Jets right there. Like I did that on purpose. Can you really go to year 7 with Daniel Jones? I mean, as a fan base, could you really be waiting on a quarterback for 7 years and still saying, well, we failed the guy and we don't know what he is? 7 years? No. Razzle says, I honestly did not know that you could run 17 plays on a single drive into the NFL. You know, it's funny, Razzle. The Giants have given up the most drives of over like 12 yards. I have 12 plays. It's an interesting little stat. Why is the taboo these days to bench a franchise quarterback or sit them their rookie season? I don't know. That's a great question. I said it before, even going back to Malik Willis. I said I wouldn't have played Malik Willis the entire year, first year. I would have sat his ass on the bench. He's not ready. He's not ready to play. You could go back to the 80s. Guys in the 80s sometimes wouldn't play to like year 4. First round picks, 70s too. You wouldn't play to like maybe year 3 or 4. You were expected to sit on the bench unless there's a vis-a-vis injury. Emmanuel says, I'm back and DJ's still our quarterback. Well, don't leave anywhere. Todd Taylor says, Brady retired and no one cares if Belichick is fudging the injury reports now. That's a good point. Joe Montana sat his rookie year. He did. You're right. There's plenty of quarterbacks that sat their rookie year. Joram says, man, I don't know, but I think Mara is going to keep Jones around for the 4 years of the contract. I can't. I seriously can't. I just can't. We are in year 5 of this experiment. It's like you build a rocket and you're building it, and you're putting it on, you got it on the launch pad. And every time you hit the launch button, it kind of fizzles out. So after so many times of having this rocket on the launch pad, you just kind of reach a point where you're like, I don't want to push the launch button anymore. And I did a video today because honestly, think about this. Tyrod Taylor is not the answer at the quarterback situation. He's not. He's 34 years old. He's not the answer. But he did something to the Giants that I think the Giants feared. Has the offense looked better? Yes. Has the offense scored more points? A little bit. But he has done the exact same thing and produced better stats than your $160 million quarterback at $9 million over 2 years. It's the worst nightmare for Joe Shane. The offense hasn't missed a beat. The offense hasn't all of a sudden gotten worse. If anything, the offense is starting to look better. So even if the Giants continue to score this putrid amount of points, and they keep winning, or even if they don't keep winning, if they're in these games, how can you sit there, go back to Daniel Jones and say, okay, well, we're going to go back to you, even though the guy I am paying $151 million less has done exactly everything that you do and better, but better. How do you do that? I think, and like I said, that to me, and I did a video last week too, that was Shane's worst nightmare. I just dropped $160 million on this bum, and I got a guy that's 34 years old, hasn't started a game since 2021, making $151 million less, doing the exact same shit, and looks better doing it. That's a problem. Daniel Jones isn't in year 1. Daniel Jones isn't in year 2. Daniel Jones isn't in year 3. Daniel Jones isn't in year 4. He's in year 5. Nick says, but no praise. This man gets every week. There is the same excuse. Joe Rev says, great. I can have the new hat. No, Mike Lee says most likely economics need to get the most out of the quarterback prior to his next contract. I don't know, man. Zach Attack says Kayon Thibodeaux needs to have all of his asterisks with the flawed Banks, Hawkins, McKinney getting 12 and a half of the sacks credits. I agree. And like I said, like I know Carl Banks loves defensive players and he loves Kayon Thibodeaux and he's the biggest Giants homer outside of outside of Howard Cross in that building and probably Joe Papa. But the impact's not there. You had a chance to make it. We'll talk about. Look, we're going to talk about the pressures. He had all these pressures. He's got more pressures than Joey Bosa. If you said you could have Joey Bosa or Kayon Thibodeaux at this stage in their careers, I would say that 97% of the intelligent Giant fans would take Joey Bosa. Mike Lee says Rodgers sat more than a year. Rodgers. So did Jordan Love. Oh, wait, not a great example. Razzle says, did you hear the pain in Timmy's year 5, Razzle? 5. It's disgusting to me. It's getting to the point where it's just not funny anymore. And with his contract, you know he's going to be back year 6. I literally don't think I can take it. I'm tired of hearing we've screwed this kid up. He doesn't have the weapons. He doesn't have the offensive line. The turf is the wrong type of turf. The weather in the stadium does not seem to be conducive to his game, to his style of play. We need air purifiers in the locker room. We need to sell different types of hot dogs. Who's calling me from Florida? We need to serve different types of hot dogs because the hot dogs they were serving, the smell is turning around and hurting Daniel Jones's nose. When does it stop? What do we got here? If Mara keeps Jones all 4 years, Dable's going to be fired. I think Dable might quit. T-Brad says everyone is hyped for Jones because of playoff game. Guess who else did that? Tim Tebow. And Tim Tebow won his playoff game in dramatic fashion. But no one wants to talk about that. The mere fact is he's the worst nightmare. He's not worse, is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. What do we got here? Mr. Weaver says, Tim, I think you know about DJ's injuries in the past. There's always been the same type of medical incentives, especially when he's got the next injury, as thought that he could get out of the contract. I don't think the Giants are going to get out of the contract. And you know what I think is also funny? Mike Lee was calling from Florida. I got a lot of friends in Florida still, so that's why I was like, who's calling me from Florida right now? What did I do with my phone? I don't know where my phone is. Let's see who called. Let's see who calls from Florida. Probably from Timeshare. Oh, I think I know who this is. Hold on. I'm going to find out who this person that called. I haven't talked to this person in a long time. Okay, hold on. Oh, all right. I'll call them back later. I'll call them. You know, that's the best part of the show. You just have to deal with my phone calls. Tim, I agree, but the ownership has shown difference. I agree. Bob is a big homer. What does Cream says? It seems like the OG played has improved the moral of the offense, and you can see the receivers are flourishing with him at the helm. You look at the locker room. I know they Dante Banks, he took down the one post, Banks did, and you know, with him, everyone looking at the OG QB so adoringly. Nick says, on the fan, I honestly agree with Sal and BT. They shouldn't have hung up on the guy. Again, I'm more pissed that that's my bit. That's my bit. That's not their bit. Somebody's watching me and stealing my shit because that's what I do to people. But Zagatex says that the pressures are leading to incompletions and interceptions. Then you can talk about it. That's the one thing we've talked about, Zagatex. Good, thank you for bringing it up because there is a dashing young fellow who brought this up before in the past that that pressures need to equate to something. You can have 20 pressures in a row. I go back to Justin Herbert's rookie season. Justin Herbert had a higher completion percentage when he was under pressure than he did when he had a clean pocket. Some quarterbacks thrive off the pressure. So to like I mentioned before, when I worked around the league, the first thing they will tell you, they looked at pressures, of course, but they also looked at what the result of the play was. You could have 8 pressures, but if the quarterback is 8 for 8 for 70 yards and a touchdowns, your pressures meant shit. You could have pressures at the most inopportune time. You could have pressures when it's the first quarter. I mean, you could have pressures when you're down by 20. What's the result of the play? At this point, Kayon is good for 1 drop interception in the game, and that's about it. What does Max says? If you take Bosa, I'm just hoping he develops more. He has been right now. He has the stats. He just needs to have been the impact. I agree. DJ has hemorrhoids. I like James. It's just, you're right, James. It's just not funny anymore. We got the super sticker from the Big Don. Big Don dropping into his house. You know I always love the Big Don dropping by. See what everyone is doing today. Where do you go, my Big Don? I want to know. Let's see here. Tim Mike Lee was calling from Florida. That was pretty funny. Well, in all fairness, James, what are you doing? You want to come on? You want to come on and say hi? Jones has been holding the Giants hostage since we got him, says the T Brad. Let's see here. Davey says Jones lives on Sunday the 13th. Max says, I'm so freaking tired of hearing the words rookie development. Why not draft day 1 and get guy ready? Why don't we ever draft a quarterback anymore? Seriously, why do we not draft a quarterback anymore? Is it not allowed? Is there something in the edict of the NFL history guide that says the Giants, after taking Daniel Jones, are no longer able or willing to take another quarterback? Is that's what it is? I'm curious because I would like to know. You're not allowed to take quarterback in the 2nd round. You're not allowed to take quarterback in the 3rd round. You're not? I would like to know. Inquiry minds like no. Zero Dark 30 says Daniel Jones is and will remain the highest paid practice squad level quarterback in history. Listen, let's be honest. Daniel Jones looks good against the all shorts team. He looks good against the Cones team. He just doesn't look good when you put him on the field. There has always been practice players in the league. Fabian, there's always been practice players. And they excel in practice. They make everything look easy. They make everything look fluid. There is some fluidity to the practices. They just have this je ne sais quoi about them. But then the problem is when you put them up in front of contact, that's when things go awry. And that's the problem. We talked about ball placement. All during training camp, we heard from Daniel Jones. It's ball placement. Look at that ball placement. Look at him place that ball in the middle of the corner of the end zone where no one else can get it but Darius Slayton. Problem is, he's also doing it against a guy wearing pads and not able to tackle. And there's zero rush. Talked about it before. Talked about it a million times. You watch Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor puts his wide receivers in the position to make something happen after the catch. Daniel Jones likes to throw his wide receivers and running backs into contact, which allows zero yak. And he tries to, at times, seem like he just continuously throws into the wide receivers' bodies. Sometimes you don't want to throw into the body of the wide receiver. Sometimes you want your wide receiver to extend a little bit. Sometimes you want your wide receiver to use your hand. Sometimes you want to put it on the inside shoulder instead of the outside shoulder. Tyrod does this. He does this with his deep passes. Daniel Jones, when push comes to shove, he just doesn't do it. And it's okay. Todd says Patrick Mahomes does his backflip and throws 80-yard touchdowns left-handed. Nick says Kayvon Thibodeaux, it's a year 2, but Vern is calling. You know what? I call him Olivier Vernon. What's up, Big Mike? And then we got the other Mike. Yeah, he has the mental ones. Zach Attack says, Zach Wilson, QBR, not a fan of the stat, has a higher QBR completion percentage, is better under pressure than in a clean pocket. Todd says they drafted 3 with Eli Manning on the team. They brought in the hefty lefty. I remember in 2004 when they had Jarrett Lorenzen and Eli Manning in camp, and Lorenzen looked better than Eli Manning, and you had some idiots saying, well, we should start Jarrett over Eli. I guess there's been idiots always. T-Brad says, usually when a team drafts a real franchise quarterback by year 3, the team's offense has improved. Are we in year what? 5? Damn it, people. Wake up. Wake up. Let's see here to Mr. Alvarez's point. I agree with your coaches should be able to develop some certain pieces. I am glad the development of the secondary at this point, and McFadden development has been great. I love McFadden. And to Michael's point, I love right now the combination of Okereke and McFadden. They play well off of each other. But I would like to see the competition, level go up a little bit. Because the games that have been the stellar games, they haven't been against the greatest competition. Outside because you're going to say, well, Tim, Buffalo. How is Buffalo doing right now? Buffalo has been sucking wind the last 3-4 weeks. Something is wrong in Buffalo. And you have Dable sitting there right now as he's watching Sean McDermott. And you watch him go down in flames. And you watch him lose that game last week. And he's just sitting there like this. And he's like, please God, let him get fired. Because I want to go to Buffalo. Zach Attack says, Daniel Jones will be good during flag football quarterback. I don't think he would be good at that. Max says, but they said other positions have struggled. Let's see, Fab said, it happens, explain Allen, Burrows, Watson, Murray, and Wilson. Well, that's a good point. Mike Mamula, who is the combine, he's the post-child for the combine out of Boston College, should have some sacks, but he was the guy that just didn't look like he's the Sergio Sturgis, the number 3 quarterback. Wow, we're going way back here. The O-line played harder for Tyrod, also because of the speed of the game. The NFL quarterbacks throw to a spot where they anticipate the wide receivers will be, cannot do that. That's another thing we do not talk about. That's one thing we do not talk about. And we've talked about here. Anticipation. You need to anticipate where the wide receiver is going to go when you throw to a spot. We've talked about it ad nauseum before, that fateful night in Chicago years ago on Thursday Night Football when Ruben Randall 3 times to his side ran the wrong route. Eli threw it to a spot and there was 3 interceptions in a row. You throw to a spot at times. You anticipate. Joey B says, how do you feel about Carl Banks being hung up on and disrespected on WFAN? You missed it earlier, Joey. I said everyone needs to grow up. In this day and age of social media and everything else, we're gonna take this to Twitter now, and I'm gonna show how wonderful I am by going to Twitter. And neither of the parties were listening to what the other party had to say. And Carl Banks is the biggest giant homer there is outside of Howard Cross and Bob Papa. So of course he's gonna defend Kayon Thibodeaux because he's also a defensive player. But then the guys weren't listening to what Carl was having to say. But then Carl wasn't listening to what he had to say. Everyone has an opinion. I hang up on people all the time. Everyone needs to take a big tall glass to grow the fuck up. But I don't have an opinion. T-Brad, Daniel Jones can throw. He can run straight only, but he can't read defenses. He can't make pre-snaps adjustment. He can't handle the pressure. He can't throw open. Not my quarterback. I laugh because I've talked about this. We've talked about this before. Last week. Tyrod Taylor's 20-yard run. He checked out of the play. Then he checked back into the play and ran for 20 yards. How many times have you seen Daniel Jones ever check out of a play? Let alone check out of a play and then check back into the play. How many times have we seen that? I'm going to count on my fingers. None. Well, maybe once or twice. What's John say? What's with the mix, the crowd mix of these games? 70, 30, 60, 40 Giants, given it it's a home game. It's a home game. I am curious to see, because like I said, there was at least, if you go to the Seattle game, there was at least 20, 30% of that stadium was Seahawk fans. It was kind of disgusting. I talk about the Eagle game from last year. I would say at least 40% of that stadium was Eagles. And even the Cowboy game, I would say 25, 30% of that. I was sitting next to a season ticket holder, and I'm sitting next to a Cowboy fan. David says, if Jones doesn't get better quick, he can kiss our chances of getting a high draft pick and Caleb or Drake goodbye. No, because you can always trade. It's all right. It's all right to trade up in the draft. Everyone's like, oh, my God, we got a 15th pick. Oh, my God, what are we going to do? It's the 15th overall pick. There's no way we can get a quarterback. Oh, wait. You can make a trade. Oh, shit. Didn't think about that. Really? Wait, you could trade? You could do that in the NFL? You could trade up into the top 5? Eli Manning, we traded for Eli Manning. Was the first overall pick. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. What's up, Michael, with the big old super chat? Sick of talking about DJ. Someone take this guy away already. I'm sick of talking about him too, but he's our quarterback. And you're talking about my quarterback, man. He's my quarterback. He's not my I'm with T Brad. He's not my quarterback. Where do you go, my lovely great balls of fire? I'm trying to find it. I can't find it. I can't find it. Oh, there we go. I found it.
It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
Is there anyone in the locker room that's doing that for Daniel Jones? I mean, seriously, is there anyone sitting there by their locker just going,
it's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing. You're looking at T-Brad with the T-Brad. You're looking at the OGQB with this awe and this aura. Oh, and I love Tyrod, man. Tyrod just slumps down on the bench. He's like, "What's up?" Yeah, I'll go out there. You want me to go out there and lead? Yeah, okay, I got this. And then they had the pictures of it. Then they had the pictures of him in his house. He's leaning up against his case. So, yeah, it's my house. Oh, I got to go out and lead a touchdown drive. I'll be back. That's why he's the OG QB. Daniel Jones can throw. I already did that one. Let's see. If Jones doesn't get better quick, you can kiss her. We did that one. Let's see here. Buffalo has been the Buffalo Bills since the Buffalo Bills in 2017. Can Daniel Jones do anything right? Sure he can. He shows up in the stadium and cashes his check. Off topic, I see flag football. I see flag football is going to be in the next Olympics. I did not know that. So what you're saying is I need to go and get ready to play some flag football. Joe Rev says, I think Daves will be head coaching in Buffalo next season. I think he would be. I love this. I love this from Diet Ghost. Mike Mamula is fun to say. Mike Mamula. It is kind of fun to say. Hi, what's your name? Knock, knock. Who's there? I'm Mike Mamula. Mike Mamula who? Mike Mamula is not named Daniel Jones. What do we got? Big Don Drone on Super Chat. Hyatt loves him some Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, because he turns around. There's the ball. Oh, shit, there's the ball. Somebody's throwing it to me. What is this? What am I, back at Tennessee? Where's Hendon Hooker? Is he throwing me the ball? All the way from Detroit. T-Brad says the soundbite of Owens would be perfect meme with Mara's face on it. Now, that seems like that's a lot of that seems like that's complicated to do. That's complicated. At least, Zach says, at least Banks, Papa, and Cross are all paid by the Giant organization. You're right. Exactly. Grow some balls. I hands up on a lot of people. That's just it is. Half a jersey's Eagle fans. Half a jersey is Eagle fans. Where's my phone now? Who's texting me now? Leave me alone. I'm working. Person from Florida who called me is now texting me. Then they'll let them know that they called me. Max says, we need to trade up. I'm tired of DJ. I hope it's either Caleb or Penix. Mike Lee says, need picks to trade in order to trade up. Diet Ghost says, real talk, one way or another, we probably trade up anyways. You can get a quarterback in the 6th round. How you get one in the 7th round? Look at Brock Purdy. Fabian says, I would love to have told Carl Banks, my bad, called him back, then hung up again. See, that would really be stealing my bit. I'm more upset with the fact that they're stealing my bits. How many times have I hung up on Dom? I sometimes hang up on Dom 7, 8, 9 times in a show. Let's see. Difference is Tyrod is scrambling quarterback. DJ is running quarterback for your life. That was funny when Carl Banks said that Tyrod Taylor is just better at running for his life. I'm going to talk about your quarterback. You can't, man, because that's not fair. Let's see. My favorite quote of all time. I'm so glad we made T.O. cry. Let's see here. Where's the Dahmer? I got kicked out of Poppycockers for wearing a hat. I'll have to talk to Dom about that. I don't know where Dom is. Let's see here. Every watch Daniel Jones on the sideline. Not only does he have a bad body language, but players do not gather him. Nothing indicates leadership qualities like nobody. You know what's funny, Danny Dubs? I want to talk about that a second. And I want to get off Daniel Jones.
That's what she said.
Because I want to talk about the Jets. My wife, who goes to the games with me sometimes, and we go to the preseason games sometimes, regular games. I'm season ticket holder. She's into body languages, and she's into things like that, and people's tells and stuff like that. And she pointed out a couple of years ago that she's like, do you ever notice that a lot of times Daniel Jones is always sitting by himself on the bench? And I didn't think about it. And this last preseason game, Daniel Jones literally was on the bench, and he was close to where the equipment is. And I might have a picture of it. And there is like 7 seats open before the next guy is there. And literally Tyrod Taylor came over and sat next to Daniel Jones. And it was kind of weird when I'm thinking about it, because I'm like, well, I got to see if I have that picture. I might have that picture. And she said that she noticed that before in other games, that it was the same way, that she's like, Daniel Jones is always sitting by himself on the bench. And I never really looked at it. I never really thought about it until she mentioned that. And I said, oh my God, you're kind of right. He's kind of always by himself. And then there was, hold on, I got a picture. Wait a minute. See, look at this. Let's see. Here, I got to pull this picture up too. I got another picture. And this isn't on the bench, but this was kind of weird too, because I noticed this as well. Hold on. Can I put this up? I noticed this picture as well. Now, this is at the end of the preseason game, and everyone seems to be congregating in the middle of like the bench. And there's Daniel Jones, and Bredesen is the only guy even close to him. And this was during the preseason game. And I never really thought about it, but then I was like, oh my God, she's kind of right. That if you do watch his body language, he does have very bad body language. And I will tell you this. This is also one of my favorite parts of my wife. She keeps telling me that people eat their emotions. And she goes to me, and she's during the losing streak, she goes, well, Brian Dable's gotten big, man. He's really eating his emotions. She goes to me, we're watching the game on Sunday, and she goes, Brian Dable's lost weight. And then she was like, do you think it's because he's no longer eating his emotions because Daniel Jones is his quarterback? I thought that was very interesting. Kevin says DJ's best wide receiver is Golden Tate ever since he looked like he had nobody. He never threw the ball to Golden Tate either. Golden Tate had to get in Daniel Jones's face and say, throw it. And he got yelled at for showing him up in the game because he caught a touchdown. He's like, throw me the damn ball. This is what happens when you throw me the ball. Look at Evan Ingram. Let's see. Tim, I do think the DJ's injury is serious. If the doctors are keeping him out for this long and saying he's healthy, then there has to be something the doctors don't want to risk his health for. No, I agree with that. Tim, what you doing for Thanksgiving? Having family over for Thanksgiving. I'm going to barbecue. I'm going to smoke a turkey. I'm going to smoke a couple turkeys in the big smoker outside. I have one of those really big vertical smokers that you can put like 8 turkeys in. I'm not putting 8 of them in. I'll put like 2 or 3 in. Jerry Rice couldn't make Daniel Jones look good. We talking to 60-year-old Jerry Rice. Diet goes, can't remember if it was a Buck or Aikman, but someone said he doesn't have a pulse. It's not. I think that was Aikman. But that's really Mike Lee. The stench of failure is contagious. Nick says, I think this will be a low-scoring game with Zach Wilson throwing a pick. I hope it does. I hope Sauce doesn't play. Luke says, I no longer see DJ as a long-term. Now it's about who gives us the best chance to win week to week. Nick says, as a trop. Let's see here. Davey says, if Keyshawn Johnson was the Giants today, he would throw out the damn quarterback. Pasta for dinner, Tim. No, we're not having pasta. I do I do what do I do? Doing that thing you do. I do lasagna for Christmas. I do prime rib and lasagna, so that's always good. You missed my super chat. Oh my God, Zach Attack, I am so sorry. Zach Attack with a big old super chat. No motions every play, and the offense looked better. Sorry about that, Zach. Doing the brand new dance now. Come on, baby, giant, stop running the motion. I was laughing because I keep thinking of the Seattle game about the motion. And James and I are sitting here laughing like Wanda Robinson's going to get tired. Not from running vertical, just from running the motion. he's gonna get tired from just running motion. But you're right. There was actually less motion last week. The motion's not fooling anybody. Can we just stop with the motion? Can we just stop? Let's see here. It's a trap. I'm smoking with the turkey. I'm smoking the turkeys. You're gonna smoke with the turkeys. I got you, super chat. See, puff, give that turkey. We're gonna give the turkey some Maui Wowie or Panama Red. Mike Lee says, is Sauce still in percussion protocol? He went in on Monday. I don't know. Zach Attack, what's the update on Sauce Gardner? Could you please look for that? At least this game is on at 1. It could be a 14-10 craptacular extravaganza. It's like saying craptacular. And I know that's how you wrote craptacular. Yeah, at least it's a 1 o'clock game. Is it next year? Like every Giant game is at 1 o'clock? Is that next year? Zach Attack, look that up too. Zach Attack, the unofficial producer of the Online Big Blue Show. I'm trying to see. Let's see here. I don't know how to do this. How do I do this? How do I do this? What am I doing here? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Wait, go here. New window. This is great because I got like 5 windows. Open up. Oh, there's Tweeter. I'm on Tweeter. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if I can find. I'm trying to see if I can find the injury report. I don't know. I don't see an injury report. All right, Zach Attack's gonna look it up. As always, we brought the show to a grinding halt. And let's see, and doing jumping jacks. All right. Let's see. Cap says, would you grade Kayon Thibodeaux's second season's performance? I give Kayon Thibodeaux right now. Hopefully Carl Banks doesn't listen. I give Kayon Thibodeaux a C+. Zach says Jets strengths of the the Jets strengths of the Jets offense is the run. The weakness is the defense is the run of the Giants. I agree. We're gonna need to run the ball. We're gonna need the Herman Munster. We're gonna need to run. We're gonna attack the middle line. The only problem is the Giants are gonna be the same way. Joe Rev says pass the turkey on the left hand side. Let's see. Tim, will you go on Fisk and Cap show? I don't know. I was invited. Did something happen that I don't know about? Sure. Let's see. Nick says, can't wait for the Jones would have did this. Excuse. I do love that one. Jones is always, they're always like, well, I love when people are like, well, if Jones was in the game, we would have won as well. Then I heard 2 weeks ago that if we had kicked the Graham Gano field goal, we would have won the game. And then I laughed because what happened to Graham Gano, the first field goal attempt of last week's game? You don't know, people. DJ will eventually play tight end with Tim Thibodeaux. Thibodeaux right now is a broadcaster. Sauce Gardner is a full participant at practice, most likely to play. Well, that's not good. All right, let's think about this for a second. How many people want Daniel Jones to play? Let's in the chat right now. We're going to Akbar it. How many people write who you want to see at quarterback this week? Who do you want to see? Oh, let's General Akbar it, and let's see. And let's get the pulse of the team, of the fan base, and see who exactly do you want? DJ Reed will most likely play. All right. Oh, really? I didn't know that as well. Let's see. Matumbo's C+. That's what I expected from you, Tim. And it's not a slight against him. He just has disappeared in multitudes of positions and games and important places, and he's made some mistakes still. Let's see here. The Jets secondary is getting healthier, which is scary. Let's see here. We got Tyrod. Anyone but DJ, the OG QB, Tyrod, Fabian. I don't know if you're being facetious or sarcastic. We got Tyrod. We have, by tabulating this quickly as I do with my math, we have 470 Tyrod Taylors and 1 Daniel Jones. Is that not right? What happened to James? Joey B wants DJ. Blazin says Tyrod, and I hope he does feel well as he's trending upwards and we can win. Nick says, I want Tyrod, but I want to see DJ so we can see the difference. And when DJ wants Tyrod, let's see here. Give me the ghost. Give me the ghost of Philip Rivers past. Oh my God. Let's see. Kevin says, I want to see DJ play just so the Panty Boys can say, if DJ played. Joey says, I want a good draft pick. Oh my God. Let's see here. It all depends. If you want a chance to win, then no DJ. If Shane and David want to make the Jones look even worse, then I'm playing with them. We got Cream saying, let's see here. But Tyrod, if you want to see it happens, if DJ plays, Tyrod Taylor, because he is the Jet killer. Let's see. DJ, because I want Tyrod to take the Jets' dominance. I'll take James over DJ. DJ to get the number 1 draft pick. The Medusa at quarterback, not Daniel Jones. Boy, we got a lot of people just not feeling the love. Watch this game end in a tie. That would be that's the Snoopy Bowl. That would be the Jets and Giants that it ends in a tie. I would laugh. I would cry if it actually ended in a tie. I don't want it to end in a tie. It's dumb. It ain't dumb. Let's see here. Oh, wait. I found it. Okay, hold on. So we were talking a moment ago. I knew I had a picture of it. We were talking a moment ago how Daniel Jones is always by himself. And how literally he had, nobody wants to sit with him on the bench and this. And I had mentioned the fact that at the end of that last preseason game, there's too many damn files. Delete. All right, let's see there. Let's see if that works. Okay, open. Okay, here we go. Can I delete this? I'm going to delete this one too. And here it is right here. There it is. Daniel Jones was sitting by himself. And there was no one within 7 seats, and Tyrod Taylor had to walk over and sit next to him. That's the life of an NFL backup quarterback. Oh shit, I gotta go sit next to Daniel Jones. Damn, man. Do I really have coach? Do I really gotta? Yeah, you gotta. Oh, fuck. Fine, I'm gonna go sit next to Daniel Jones. Daigo says it depends on who we want to miss the rest of the season. No way they are beating the Jets. I may go to the game. I haven't decided yet. But what are our predictions? What are our predictions for this game? We are going to be giving away the Eli Manning replica Super Bowl ring. But let's do it today. Let's do it today a little bit. What's our predictions for this game? What's your score? Who's your winner? And what's your prediction for this game? Because I'm curious to see. It looks like there's a lot of people talking about Daniel Jones. Let's see. Captain Matama said, do you think Embiid will do on the Jets? Embiid's not going to the Jets. I mean, the Giants or Knicks, whatever his name is. Joel Embiid's not coming here. You're not going to trade him within the division. I watched the game last night. Good comeback. Knicks up by 6. Same fourth quarter deficiencies. They missed the Tatum call where they had Brunson with as a flop. It turned out even the refs came out and said it, and the NBA came out and said it. Tatum did step on Brunson's foot, so that should have been a foul on Tatum, and they didn't call it. The Knicks still have the same problems, and they're going to have the same problems as they did last year. I think they're going to be, 5-6 seed. You never replaced Obi Toppin. I love DiVincenzo, whatever you're saying, I think he is. He's going to be he's going to be a little Vinny Johnson microwave going on there. He plays well defensively at times, but he's 6'4". He doesn't have the greatest wingspan. And you never found a backup again for Julius Randle. And when Randle and Brunson, like last night, have off nights, you're not going to have that scoring off the bench outside of Quickly, maybe Grimes. So and like you got DiVincenzo out there as well, but like I said, they didn't address the same problems they had last year. And I think if you take a look at it, Miami went out and got a star. Boston went out and got 2 stars because everyone forgets Drew Holiday outside with Porzingis. So I mean, it's interesting. The Knicks are interesting this year. I think they're going to be a 4-5 seed. I think second round out again, unless they make a trade. But Joel Embiid's not coming here. I think you have more of an opportunity to swing a trade with. I mean, Chicago right now is falling apart. It's only week 1. I like to see Zach LaVine. Let's see here. DJ took all of Tyrod's bad luck out of him. Let's see here. Jets have a much better defense than Washington, so he could be shut up. Jets have a championship defense if their secondary is there. Antonio says 24-21. We got 3. Was that really 3-2? Well, it was 3-2. Whoops. Sorry. Wait a minute. Here we go. Whoops. Just a bit outside, tried the corner and missed. 3-2. Why don't Tommy do it? I want to sit next to DJ next year. Nick's got it 10-7. Todd's got it at 2010 Jets. Sorry, Jets defense is just too good. New York teams were looking off yesterday. Let's see. Mr. Hasselback says 14-10 G-Men. Looks like the last 2 weeks. Tim, Zach or Tyrod Taylor, depending on the defense, goes for the Jets. Depends on both quarterback who plays. No Embiid. It's too. Yeah, plus Embiid never plays. He's not healthy. But the problem is also you're going to have to give up probably Randall. You're going to have to give up. Maybe RJ Barrett. You got to probably give up Mitchie the Kid and like 3 first rounders. I just can't do it. Joey says, I'm disappointed DJ didn't progress. Not as much as Shane and Dables were disappointed. Knicks need a star, and I think they're going to go after Spidey senses. They do. Jalen Brunson. I like Jalen Brunson a lot. I was wrong about Jalen Brunson last year. Jalen Brunson came up like 7-up. I was wrong about that, and I think he's going to continue to improve, but he does have this tendency to have off nights, and sometimes he can come up clutch. But at the end of the day, like I said, when you have Randall and Brunson, I don't know how they survived that game and went up by 6. I have no clue how they did the Knicks. RJ Barrett, I also like to see RJ Barrett get a little bit stronger. I did like the fact that when he drove to the basket this time, that he used both hands. He used his left a couple times, used his right a couple times. So I was very impressed by RJ Barrett as well. I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar, but he could be. I think he could be an all-star. But I have to see consistency night in and night out from RJ. I mean, like I said, it's one game. We got to wait and see. Tyrod Taylor, 20 of 34, 239, 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, 20 attempts, 89 yards, 20 yards receiving. Zach Wilson, 20 for 25, 2 touchdowns, 2 again late in their sense. Games in 21-20. Jets 13-6. Let's see here. Defense edges the Jets offense depending on Zach Taylor. New York will win 5-5 Giants. Sublight, it can't be 5-5 Giants win. That's a tie. Or is it just a moral victory? Look, Joe Rev, 17-13 Jets. Now you don't get the hat. Hey, Tim, what if finds these refs? You have hot garbage all year. They cost the team so many games. It is crazy. Yeah. We have Hall with 34 rushes, attempts for 124 yards. If Hall gets 34 rushing attempts, Zach, I'm thinking 200 yards. I'm literally thinking like 200 yards. And I'm not joking on that. Who's better, Kenny O'Brien or Daniel Jones? Number 7, the old Jet, Kenny O'Brien. Oh my God! Former first round draft choice. That was the 83 draft. So that was the year of the quarterback draft. Or was that 84? Was he 84? I don't remember. What's funny though? Kenny O'Brien had a couple of good seasons. I think it was 85. He made the Pro Bowl. I know he threw for like 24 touchdowns, I think, and like 7-8 interceptions. And they kind of tailed off in 86 when the Giants won the Super Bowl. He still threw for over 3,000 yards and like 25 touchdowns, but I also think he led the league or was tied to the league with like 22 interceptions or something like that. And then with injuries kind of derailed his career and moved him down a little bit, but he still threw for over 25,000 yards. I know that, and at least like 130 touchdowns. And he had I think he won like 50 games. 55 games. I know he had a losing record, but I know he won like 50 games. So, I gotta go Kenny O'Brien. CP on the Knicks TV fan was talking about offers sheet for Embiid. It would be way too much. RJ Barrett, IQ, and Emmanuel quickly not getting signed it's not a terrible thing. Mitchell Robinson, anyone else in 3 picks, I can't do it. Let's see. Who is most underrated career? Steven Jackson or Marshall Faulk? You got to go Marshall. I mean, you got to go. Well, what's funny? I don't think Marshall Faulk ever got the due he deserved in Indianapolis, and I do think he had a good career. Zacatech says the New York will win and New York will lose. Tim, how far are you living from? I'm about 2 hours away from MetLife. It's an all day affair, and I got to get up buck ass early to go to the stadium. We moved a couple of years back, and where we lived before, I was right next to 95, and I could jump on 95 and just shoot up to the stadium. Now it's like, it's an adventure. Daniel Jones or Nick Foles? I'm going to go Nick Foles because he won a Super Bowl. Let's see here. Indiana, he wasn't afraid to throw it down the field. Let's see. Foles. Kenny O'Brien he wasn't afraid to throw it. Well, he was also throwing to like Al Toon and Wesley Walker and people like that. Nick says if the Giants can't stop the run, we will be fine. Can't stop the run. Let's see here. Falk was great with both of his teams. He was. And Fabian says, wow, yeah, it's an all day excursion for me, man. It's like I said, people are like, well, if I was a season ticket holder, I'd go to every game. Don't forget that. Like, no, it's kind of hard.
That's what she said.
It's a production. And then I do a lot of things with the Giants on field stuff. So I got to be sometimes at the stadium. And if it's like a 1:00 game, if I'm doing something on the field, I got to be there at 8:35. I mean, Big L will tell you, Lorenzo will tell you, we got to be there early. Like 8:30 for a 1:00 game. I got to be there sometimes 8:35 in the morning, which means I got to leave here like at 6. It's an adventure. Who has a better Giant career, Morton or DJ? You know how much I hate Craig Morton. Daniel Jones has had a better career than Craig Morton. Let's see here. The team with this Tyrods that will run through the wall for him, and not so many for Danny Penny's the dump off king of the dump offs. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I'm tired. Football is going to start soon. Anyone got anything to say? Indian Spice says, who was a better career, Daniel Jones or Dave Brown? Ooh, what's funny? Dave Brown, first starting season, he won 9 games. Giants didn't. That was under Dan Reeves. The Giants did not make the playoffs, but then he kind of petered out because he had a bad team. What's funny? Dave Brown really had no wide receivers. He really had no offensive line. He really had no defense. So, yeah, so what does that sound like? You guys say Daniel Jones had a better career. Made you say something nice about Daniel Jones. I always say nice things about Daniel Jones. Who's worse than Craig Morton? Jeez, Norm Snead. Joe Pisarcik. Let's see. Steve Nash or John Stockton? Stockton never. You got to go Stockton because of the shorts. Anyone that played in those tiny shorts back in the 80s, you got to give them props. John Stockton was the man. Steve Nash has the MVPs and stuff like that, but John Stockton, those teams in Utah were something else, especially with Karl Malone. And there was a stretch where John Stockton wasn't the big scorer, but there was a stretch where he had multitudes of seasons of over 13 assists and almost 3 steals or 2-3 steals a game. And he never missed a game. It wasn't towards the end of the latter part in his career back in the late 90s, like around 97, where he stopped playing 80 games. I forgot what stretch, but he played something like 12 seasons of 80 games or more. So, I mean, I think you got more razzle dazzle with Steve Nash, but I think Stockton did all the little things well. So you lived in Southern Jersey. Heard you ain't nothing but Phillies fans there. No, actually, I lived in Central Jersey. But I was in Pennsylvania when we moved again. But I lived in Central Jersey, and as I know, people say there is no such thing as Central Jersey, but Trenton to me is in Central Jersey. Just ask T-Brad. Dave Brown, Danny Jones went to Duke. Such a generic name. You're right. I live in the middle of, Zach knows I live literally in the middle of nowhere. I love it because James came to my house and he drove to my house, and we had moved like a year ago, and he came to my house and he's driving there and I told the James, I said, if you're going to come to the house, you're going to stay the weekend, leave early, because you don't want to be in these roads at night, because we have roads that are like covered bridges, but they're not covered bridges. They're just the trees have just grown over the roads, and there is no lights. And if you're looking for the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, the Jersey Devil, and whatever else, they're probably on these roads. So I told James, make sure you drive during the day. No one touches stock in the assist record. No, they're not going to ever. Carl the Mailman Malone. You got to love Carl Malone. Stockton or Maravich. 2 different players. Pistol Pete, more of a scorer, not really a facilitator. If you're looking at a better all-around player, I gotta go John Stockton. Let's see. Thoughts on the Knick game yesterday. So like I said, Celtics really hit gold with that Porzingis trade. Basically, Robert Williams, if he could shoot. Like I said, it's the problem with that game is, like I said, they came out and said that it wasn't a flop, that Tatum actually stepped on Brunson's foot, so it shouldn't have been a technical. It should have been 3 throws for Brunson. The Knicks, the same problem. They got to find a way to finish. And like I said, there was no way in hell they should have been in that game, the Knicks, because both Brunson and Randall had bad games. So there should have been no way in hell. You got carried by RJ Barrett, but like I said, Central Jersey does exist. I know it exists, Zach. John Stockton was definition of the 80s and the 90s point guards. He definitely was. Let's say also, if Brunson is going to have to have a down season, I think Brunson's going to be fine. I think Brunson's going to be fine. I know him and Randall had bad games, but I think they're both going to be fine. Brunson does this. Brunson has his ups and he has his downs, and then but he'll still come up like 7-up. He'll still come up clutch at times. We got the big L doing it. L. Hey, Tim, my brother from another, you live in El Campos. Tim, the Chupacabra will be in the damn woods where you live. Let's see here. Zacatech says the Knicks are the saviors in New York. God, I said that before. God help us. The Knicks are my only saving grace right now. Kareem or Wilt? Kareem has the hardware. Wilt has the pedigree in reference to stats. Wilt played in a different area, and Wilt also had to go up against Bill Russell. So you had that whole Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain thing. Wilt slept with like 7,000 women. So I got to go with Wilt the Stilt. I have a piece of the floor from the game in Hershey when he scored 100 points. I had the piece of the floor hanging up on the wall over there. So I'm a little partial to Wilt. Hakeem or Kareem? That's actually a really tough one. Are we combining Kareem as Lou Alcindor in Milwaukee? Because then I'm going to have to go Kareem. If we're going Lakers, just Kareem, then I got to go with Hakeem, because Hakeem was a freak of nature. Tim or DJ? Go with me, baby. That's the ABCs of me, baby. I got to watch that movie with Jerry Maguire. You are hanging on by a very thin thread, and I dig that about you. Hakeem, like I said, if you are going to go Lou Alcindor, Kareem, because everyone forgets his days in Milwaukee. in the championship in Milwaukee. I'm going to have to go with Kareem his entire career. See, there we go. Indian Spice. I'm going Kareem his entire career. If you're going LA Kareem, then you got to go to Olajuwon. Bills or Bucks? The Bills have got to figure it out. Something's wrong with the Bills. I said this before. I think something's wrong with Josh Allen. It has nothing to do with Brian Daboll. Something's wrong with Josh Allen. And I like Baker Mayfield on the Bucks. I really do. I mean, it's funny that you can find a quarterback only making a couple $1 million a year who's putting up better stats than our quarterback. He's already got 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, I think, 4 interceptions. He's probably completed. I think he's completed like 60-something% of it, 66% of his passes Baker has. Hakeem was the 7 foot. Yeah, he was a 2. Hakeem was a 2 guard. If you think about it, he was a 2 guard at times. And then when he had the mixture with him and Ralph Sampson, that just wasn't going to work, but they kind of made it work. They kind of made it. What, we got a giant alert. Giant alert. Giant alert. Let's see what this giant alert is. Could be giant breaking news. Brian Daboll says Daniel Jones out for the season. Just kidding. My phone plays through the soundboard. Because evidently I didn't turn off the Bluetooth. Let's see here. Zach says Bobby O needs his hired escort to work out on Hall's legs to help the defense out. I agree. I think Josh Allen's playing concussed. They just don't want to sit him. Baker Mayfield, 1 year, $4 million. That's really it. I always go with the my favorite debate is always LeBron James or Michael Jordan. Now I go back to watching Jordan play at North Carolina. And I love it because you talk about the Jordan championship in North Carolina. And one of the things that's like really overlooked is they didn't draw up the play for James Worthy. They drew up the play for Michael Jordan. So even early in his career, they knew that Michael Jordan was something special. And of course, you got LeBron, who didn't go to school and go to college, so you didn't have that. But I think that's always the debate: who was the GOAT? And I'm sorry, you got it. I've watched both of them. Hit that like button. I've watched both of them in their prime. And I'm sorry. I think that someone like James could play it in the 80s and the 90s, but he couldn't play with the same mentality that he has now. Because you go up against some of these guys in the 80s and the 90s, there was no joke. It was like playing football on the hardwood. So, not that I'm saying he couldn't play. Do you think today's ring culture has unfairly hurt some players' legacies? I mean, Oscar Robertson was rated a top 5 NBA player history 20 years ago. Now people don't even have him in the top 20. The Big O. You know, it's interesting that you bring that up because there's a lot of people that don't understand Oscar Robinson's career because he goes back to the early 60s. I think he came in the league in the 60s. But the Big O, man, the Big O came in putting up 30. I think he averaged 30 points a game on average from like 60 to 1968 or something like that. Something crazy like that. I mean, and he just had, and like I said, he averages a triple-double that second year with the Kings. I think he was like 30, 12, and 12 or something crazy like that. And I think like we talked about it before, the mind wanders as the past goes in the past, the mind's eye wanders against other people in their statistics. Oscar Robinson to me is if I had my top 10 NBA players, Oscar Robinson's in my top 10. He's probably around 7. If I got to put it out that way. Rick Mahorns would punch him in the face. Logic's finest. Keith Hernandez, a Don Manley, aka Donnie Baseball Tim, Big Tim, my best to you and your family. What's up, Logic fans? How's everything in Germany? Donnie Baseball had his career with the Yankees. You had Keith splitting the MVP with the Reds was back in the Cardinals back in 79 with Willie Stargell, and then so he wasn't a homegrown Met. But at the time when they got him in the 80s, 85, he was the piece that was missing to kind of bring everyone together. And that's what gave us the championship in 86. But Donnie Baseball was the Yankees for years until his back gave out. So in some ways, you got to go Donnie Baseball. Tim, do you think Mahomes will outring Brady? No, I don't. Hit the like button or Rob won't shut up about Bobby Johnson. Every good NBA team in the 80s and 90s had at least 2 or 3 6'5", 80s and 90s people forget. You are right. You had the Charles Oakleys. You had the Mahorns. I mean, you had these monsters that played. Xavier McKinney, Tom Chambers, and Sean Kemp. The league is now soft. That's the old Supersonics team. I like Sean Kemp. I've met Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp never met a meal he didn't like. I met him years ago I think he got traded for like the second or third time. And I met him in a restaurant, and he was a big man. He was getting big when he started at the end. Plus he had the drug problem, but he was big at the end. Buck Williams comes to mind, the old New Jersey Net. You had Buck Williams, you had Otis Birdsong, you had Michael Ray Richardson before he went out with the drug problem again. You had Albert King, Bernard King's brother. You had Chocolate Thunder, Darryl Dawkins. The Net team in the 80s was fun. I was living in Jersey in the 80s. I was a kid in the 80s in Jersey, so I went to a lot of Net games. So Buck Williams was the man. Those 80, 90s, early 90s teams for the Nets, they were the man. They were minimum boys. And then you had Mike Jaminski at one point in time on there as well. Boy. Let's see. I kind of just like how old NBA players have this back in my day mindset when those players like Jonas wouldn't even make a roster in their era. I think certain players would make the roster. I just think they would not be as successful because there is such a limit to contact now than there was in the 80s. Especially in the 80s, especially the Knicks of the 90s with Pat Riley. Oh my God. They would kill you. Will Levis is Ryan Tannehill 2.0, and Vrabel needs to let Malik cook. He does, but we're not going to get into that. All right, guys, I'm going to close it out here today. Had a lot of fun talking basketball. Going to have a new show, 3&D, coming up soon for the New York Knicks. This is Tim. This is New York. This is Online Big Blue Sports. Losing my voice, guys. Appreciate everyone hanging out, and I'm out of here. Everyone enjoy the game.